Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen here at My Table of Three. If you're new, my name is Carrie, so welcome. If you're not new, as always, I appreciate you for coming back for one of my videos today. Today we are going to be participating in another fun collaboration. This one is the Christmas Cookie Exchange 2022, hosted by Jeni Golf. I hope I'm saying that right, Jeni, over at Jeni's Scratch Made Kitchen. There will be lots of recipes shared throughout this collaboration, all today on Saturday, December the 10th. So I will link to Jeni's channel below. She will have a playlist, so you can find that on her channel. I'll see if I can also find it. If I can, I will link it below. But today I'm going to be sharing with you guys another cookie recipe that I'm getting ready to put. I'm going to bake some today and put some in the freezer. A little bit closer to Christmas, I'll be pulling out all the doughs that I've prepared and baking them up and then give them out as gifts. Today we're going to be making another family recipe that's been passed down to me from my mother. She always called this Paul's cookies, which was my brother, because he really liked these. I remember coming home after school a lot in the afternoons, and she would have made these cookies for us, and they always went fast. So it's basically a really yummy, soft in the center, kind of chewy on the outside chocolate cookie, and she always did chocolate chips. Since my Nate is fond of white chocolate, I swap it out and I do half semi-sweet and half white chocolate in the chocolate cookie. And it is a family favorite here and one of Nate's favorites as well. So the recipe, the full recipe is on my blog, and it actually will be linked below, where you can find a printable recipe along with the link to Jeni's channel and the link to the playlist. I hope you guys enjoy this recipe. I'm going to go ahead and get started and show you how easy they are to mix up and to bake. So let's stop talking and get to baking. Alright, so we have all of our ingredients. The first thing we're going to do is you need really soft butter. Like, I have honestly had these out about 2 days on my counter. That's safe, so don't freak out on me. It is 1 1/4 cup. So that is basically 2 whole sticks of butter. Yep, these are really good cookies, but it is Christmas cookies, so definitely not something you eat all the time. So 1/4 cup of butter, which is what, 4 tablespoons, right? And these 2 whole sticks. And like I said, they are both very, very soft. And we are just going to get them all in there. And then we're going to add 2 cups of white sugar and cream those together. Let me go ahead and grab my sugar really quick. This is a 1/2 cup scoop, so I'm going to do 4 of those. So far we have 1 1/4 cups of butter and 2 cups of sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and cream those together for a few minutes. And it probably helps if I turn my blend or plug in my mixer. There we go. That'll work much better now that it's on. I'm going to turn it up a little bit and let it cream together. Alright, so that looks good. The next thing I'm going to do is add my 2 eggs and 2 teaspoons of vanilla. These are my precious chicken eggs right now. I don't know if you guys are the same, but those of you that have chickens, but ours are laying few and far between because they are taking their winter rest. I had a couple that were doing a hard molt, and thankfully they are almost back to their beautiful selves, and we were able to get a couple of eggs, but I know they'll bounce back at springtime. So right now we're just grateful for every egg that we can get. So there was 2 eggs in the vanilla. The next thing I'm going to do is add in 3/4 cup of cocoa powder, and I would use a really good cocoa powder, one that has a really good flavor. I'm going to mix it in gently because I was silly and did not get my guard. Use a really good one, like Ghirardelli is a great one. There's a lot of good Dutch cocos you can find on Amazon if you can't find them locally, but it really does make a difference if you bake with a good cocoa. But if you don't have it, any of those that you get from Aldi or Walmart will do too. Definitely don't make these just because you don't have fancy cocoa, because they'll turn out good too. Okay, so you can see how creamy that is looking, hopefully. It's a little dark in here because of the But anyway, we'll show you that in a little bit. So then I'm going to add flour. This is 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I'm just going to add it all in. And this is a stiffer, you know what, let's go ahead and add our 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now, I did use salted butter. If you want to use unsalted butter, you can. So I'm just going to use 1/4 teaspoon of salt. But if you use unsalted butter, use a teaspoon of salt. All right, and so now we're going to do a teaspoon of baking soda. Now, this batch of cookies mixes up pretty good, and it makes about 4 to 4.5 dozen, depending on how large you make them, what size of scoop you make. So I really like to make this when I'm needing a bunch of cookies, like at the holidays. Sometimes I'll even double it, but most of the time it makes a good bit, especially when you make them smaller. But I remember my mom, she always made them larger, so that was always fun. All right, so I'm going to scrape down the sides, and then we're going to get to the fun part. That's it as far as, let me look over. Butter, sugar, eggs, vanilla, all-purpose flour, cocoa, baking soda, salt, and the next is the chocolate chip. So let me mix this a couple more minutes, or a couple more swirls. And here's the good part. Here is the semi-sweet chips, and I just used these Toll House that I got, and then this, you can't see all of those, but there's more underneath there. So I did 1 cup of the semi-sweet and 1 cup of the white chocolate. And those are Ghirardelli white chocolate. Okay, so now we're going to put those in. Some people fold them in, but this girl just dumps them right on in. They don't taste any different, right? All right, so let's mix those. Clean up a little bit while that mixes. And that's it, guys. This is just a drop cookie, so it doesn't have to be refrigerated like refrigerator cookies. So we are just going to get this off, and I'm going to come back and show you how I drop it on the tray and bake it. Oh, and this time I've had my oven preheating to 350 degrees. So I'll be right back and show you how we drop these on the cookie sheet and bake them. And these are the ones going in their freezer, so they do not have to be far apart. So, because they're just going to freeze. And I just do mine on a silk mat, just like you would if you're going to bake them. And then when they freeze solid, they peel right off.
Come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him born the...
All right, guys, so here are the ones that are going to go into the freezer. And then here are the ones I'm going to put in the oven at 350 degrees, which is already preheated for about 8 to 9 minutes. And I'm going to show you how to pull, when I pull them out, I'll show you what they look like. And also, let me turn you up to tell you. So when you get ready to cook them from frozen, basically what I do is I pull them out, because I'll freeze them in individual, then I'll put them in a Ziploc bag. Tomorrow or a few days or whenever you want to bake some, or next week. These will last for about probably about 3 months in your freezer, 3 to 4 months if you keep them in a very good, like a thick, sturdy freezer bag. I pull them out, I put them on my baking tray, under a silicone mat or parchment paper, and I let them kind of come to room temperature. They don't have to thaw completely, but I let them soften, and then I put them in a preheated 350 degree oven. And if they're still a little bit frozen, you will need to cook them for an additional minute just to make sure they cook through. So about 9 to 10 minutes. But again, you don't want these super hard. You want them to be a little bit soft in the middle when you pull them out so they'll stay soft on the tray. So that's how you would do it if you freeze these, which those are going to go frozen. Let me put these in and I'll bring you back and show you what they look like in just a few minutes. All right, these were 9 minutes in the oven. They are still super soft, super soft. So we're going to let them set for about 5 minutes on this cookie sheet before we take them off and put them just on this, I got chocolate on my finger, before we put them on the cooler rack. So I'll be back and show you what they look like after they've cooled. Okay, you guys, so the cookies are ready. I also went ahead and baked a few that I have in the oven. I have some white chocolate macadamia nut cookies that I tossed in. Or actually, no, I'm sorry, those are the brown butter double chocolate chip that I had in the freezer. I went ahead and cooked a few of my chewy molasses cookies. Now I have a video on this. If you haven't seen that, I will try and put an iCard up top or a description below, a link to that video. Those are amazing. And I did those last week, so check those out. And then of course, we have our double chocolate, or I guess you could call it triple chocolate because of the cocoa and then the white chocolate chips and the semi-sweet chocolate chips. But these are on my blog and they're labeled as double chocolate because they got 2 different chocolate chips. But I was going to show you how soft they are. Do you see how soft they are? And look how gooey. Those are so good. Look at that. Can you see that, guys? Oh, these are so good. And I'm going to show you how I give them as a gift at a cookie exchange, or maybe you give them to your neighbors. I'm going to take some to the elders in our church, and I just use a box that I'm going to show you in just a moment. I actually got these from Amazon. They're cute, but they are a little bit of a pain to put together, but I'm going to show you how I do those in just a second. But I was going to give you a tip about cookies and how to keep them soft. One trick that my mom taught me a long time ago, that if you bake your cookies and you're keeping them in an airtight container, which you should, but if they do get a little bit harder, a lot of times these molasses cookies that are supposed to be soft and chewy in the center, sometimes they will get a little bit harder the longer they sit on the counter. However, a simple and easy remedy to that is take just a basic slice of white bread, just your cheapest loaf at Walmart. I actually have one over here if you can see it. I don't ever bake, I don't buy this bread. You guys know I bake my own sourdough and freshly ground bread, but I do keep one of those at the holidays, and I put it in the freezer for when I need it, because when these cookies get hard, you take a slice of bread, maybe 2, depending on how many cookies you have in your container, put it in there, close the lid tight, and give it a few hours to overnight. And if you remove that bread, the bread is going to be hard and crusty, and your cookies are going to be just as soft as you'd like them to be. Now, if you don't want them too soft, only leave it in there a few hours to soften it up. But it's a miracle worker and a very good way to keep your cookies soft and not too hard. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in a few cookies, a few of each kind. And sometimes I do candies. This year we're doing cookies. And we just stick those in. You guys can see. And I have 2 or 3 other kinds that I will put in there. I just didn't want to bake any today. And they look like this. How cute is that? And then I'm going to tie it up really quick and show you what it looks like when you're done. Now, these are such fun gifts, such fun ways to take to co-workers, to cookie exchange parties, because 'tis the season, right? But these are super cute gifts, guys. People are going to know that you cared enough about them and thought about them to give these cookies to them. Look at that. How cute is that? So that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this holiday cookie exchange. Be sure you check out the links to Jeni's Scratch Made Kitchen below. Check out the playlist on her channel and watch all the other amazing recipes. Don't forget, she's also made this an open collaboration. So if you want to share your recipe, please do. The more the merrier. You can never have too many cookie recipes. So make sure when you do a video, make sure you tag Jeni's channel in it so she can get you added to the playlist. And for all of you guys that may be new here, thanks for stopping by. If you like what you see, I'd appreciate a thumbs up, and go ahead and subscribe, and you and I can cook later in the kitchen. And as always, thank you guys so much for coming by my kitchen. I'll see you later, guys. Merry Christmas.